The Kiprun KD900X LD Plus was a shoe developed for their runners at the Olympic Games in Paris last year. But is this marathon super shoe any good for everyday runners? Well, it's time to find out. Welcome to FORDY Runs. My name is Chris Ford and I'm a running coach who loves to make YouTube videos about running shoes and other running content. And in today's video we're going to be talking about a brand new marathon super shoe from the guys at Kiprun, the KD900X LD Plus. So in this video we are going to take a look at the stats and features of this new marathon super shoe. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the shoe after doing over 20 miles in it. I'm going to tell you things I like and things I don't like about the shoe. We're going to discuss whether this is actually a marathon super shoe that everyday runners can use. And then we're going to wrap it all up at the end. I'm going to let you know whether you should be spending £200 on this new super shoe from Kiprun. So Kiprun, or Decathlon shoes, or whatever way you want to look at it, but basically Kiprun are spending a lot of money, have been spending a lot of money in developing their running shoes. They've been upgrading their daily trainers and now they're upgrading their race day shoes. They have been working with some elite athletes, which is where we've got this shoe from. And I think over the next year or two, they're going to continue developing at a fast rate. They're spending a lot of money over here in the UK, especially in marketing. If you go to any expo or anything like that, you'll see a huge Kiprun stand. So they're here to stay, people. Now, before we get into the stats and features, I need to do a disclaimer to cover my arse. Now with that out of the way, I need you all to hit that subscribe button because we're trying to get to 22 million subscribers and we are very close. Okay, so that's done. Let's move on. Stats and features. So the KD900X LD Plus, like I said, is a marathon super shoe. It's £199 here in the UK. The shoe weighs 252 grams, and to compare it against the Adidas Pro 4, my pair weighs 224 grams. My shoe is a UK 9.5 and it fits true to size. This shoe is not available in the US. The next version will be available, but this version will not be available in the US. We've got a new mesh upper on the shoe. We've got a V-Foam Plus midsole on the shoe, which is 100% P-backs, and it features a full-length carbon plate in this shoe. The stack height is 39mm with a 4mm drop. I think I mentioned it, but it does fit true to size. We've got reasonable rubber coverage on the outsole, and that's probably about that. Right, so I just got back from a park run sandwich. I did 20 miles, okay, and I've not cleaned these shoes. I've literally taken them off, showered, and come in to film this video. So if you don't like dirty shoes, turn off now. As I've said before in other videos, I do usually clean the shoes before I film them, but I literally just finished that run. I needed to film this video today because I'm going away, so well, let's just crack on. So let's take a closer look at this dirty shoe. So here's the V-Foam Plus, and like I said, this is P-backs, full-length P-backs foam. So this is that super foam that we get in some of the other shoes. You may have heard it called P-bar, but P-backs is the trademark name of P-bar. There's the carbon plate underneath that runs the full length, and while we're here, there's the rubber coverage as well. It's got these flat laces in it, which aren't very good. You've got little bits of strategically placed foam in the heel to hold you in. You've got this mesh upper, but it's a little bit rough. We've got Kiprun written on this side and on this side. They've shaved some weight out by basically carving out the midsole here. It's a very narrow shoe. We do have a gusseted tongue, and that's probably about it in terms of taking a closer look. Now, firstly, I've got to say I really like this colourway. I wish more running shoes were done in like these sort of colourways. This purple looks absolutely banging. And I am a fan of any running shoe brand that likes to put big lettering down the side of their shoes. For whatever reason, I just really like it. It was like the Skechers Razor shoes. They had speed written down there. This is sort of like Kiprun on it. I'd like to have awesome or hero written down the side. I think that would look epic. Okay, so before we get into likes and dislikes, let's talk a little bit about how the shoes performed. So I think the best reference point actually is probably that 20-mile run I did. I did a park run sandwich, so that's like a bit of mileage, park run, a bit more mileage to sort of make up the 20 miles. And the good thing about that run was I was able to work through different paces. And as this is a marathon shoe, obviously taking it to 20 miles, I learned quite a lot actually just on that one run. We have done other runs in this shoe, but I want to focus in on that 20 miler because I think that's relevant on the fact that this is a marathon super shoe. So the run was sort of 9 minutes, 8:45 to 9 minute miles for the first 10 miles. Actually, I think it was about 8:53, which is, I think that's about 5:30 per kilometre. Anyway, park run was a little bit quicker, and then on the sort of final stretch, the sort of 6 miles home, I dropped it down into, well, lower than marathon target pace. pace. So marathon target pace for me this year is around that 5 minute kilometers, 8 minute miles. It's actually a little bit quicker than that, but for argument's sake, let's just say we ran it there. So my point about the paces is the fact that I've worked the shoe through various different paces. I actually worked the shoe through different terrains as well, because I was down the canal towpaths, I was in the Lee Valley, which is nice smooth tarmac, I was on some roads as well. So we did a fair amount of different terrains. I've also run this in London, so again, pavements, roads and that kind of thing is absolutely fine. But my point is the shoes had a good workout in terms of knowing and understanding the various different sort of paces and terrains with it. Are you following along to this? Anyway, okay, right, so at sort of easy pace, the shoe's unstable, it's very narrow in the heel, and it's not a particularly nice ride. But again, this is a super shoe developed for elite runners. At 7, well, let's say 8 minute miles again, so like that 5 minute kilometers, a little bit quicker than that, the shoe is excellent. I was sort of here on the shoe and it was brilliant. I felt like I could carry speed. It felt pretty effortless at those sort of paces, and it was actually a nice ride. And despite the sort of unstable surfaces that I was running on down the river, not like literally in the river, but down the canal and towpaths, the shoe was excellent in terms of stability. I was worried about it because of the instability when I was running it easy, but actually when I got onto the pace and got onto the forefoot, the shoe was excellent in terms of stability as well. So in terms of the feedback from the foam, it was very, very good. Obviously, the more deeper I got into my pace, which you'd expect again from a super shoe featuring Pebax foam. The carbon plate doesn't feel that aggressive, which is quite nice. And what I mean by that is I don't have to work too hard, or felt like I had to work too hard to get it to start, well, helping me. So that's a little bit about the ride and the experience. Now let's move on to the things I like and things I don't like about this shoe. Things I like V-Foam Plus. I like the rubber coverage on the outsole. I like the way it looks. I like Kiprun massively written on the side. And the biggest thing I liked about this is that it coped with 20 miles on mixed terrain, different paces, and it was absolutely fine. That's a big plus, because some shoes aren't very good even doing that. Things I don't like. I don't like these laces. I had to retie these up 3 times on this run today. The other stuff I've done, it's been okay, but for whatever reason today, the shoelaces were just absolutely murder. Firstly, they were too loose, then they were too tight, then they sort of loosened up a little bit, so then I had to redo them. It was just, well, it was just annoying. I think some of you will not like this in the heel. See that? I think that may rub some of your Achilles. But for me, it wasn't an issue, but it's a bit of a warning. I don't like the instability in the heel at the lower paces. I'm not overly fussed about the upper. And at £199, it's a hard one to justify. So it's quite a mixed bag actually on this shoe. I like it, but I was sent it. I didn't have to pay £200 for it. And I think that's the thing. So look, let's try and wrap this up. I like this shoe. I love a shoe that I can basically just do my 20-mile long runs in, and I can work through the different paces. Now, yes, it was unstable in the heel at those lower paces, but when I got into my goal pace work, it was brilliant. And it's the sort of shoe that I would easily take on my usual sort of long runs where I'm doing 20, 21 miles, where I'm doing 3-mile loops of sort of on and off goal pace. This is a shoe I'd quite comfortably wear. And even more so knowing the fact that it can take the sort of canal paths that some of that route on my 3-mile route that I do, actually the terrain and that, look, this can soak that up absolutely fine. I think it looks great, and I think Kiprun are going in the right direction. But again, I don't understand why this is not available in the US. I know the next version of this is going to go to the US, but it's a bit of a shame that they're not allowing this, or for whatever reason it's not going to the US. I think that's a bit weird. But yeah, I've sort of got mixed feelings about it, because I can't recommend it to you because it's £200, and at £200 you can go and get, like, well, a lot cheaper. You can go and buy the Adidas Pro 3, for example. You can get the SC Elite on discount. You can get so many other super shoes that are out there, some of those older models discounted down. It's hard to justify £199 on this. If this shoe was £175, then we'd be having a different conversation, I think. Because there's nothing wrong with this shoe. In fact, it's actually quite good, and it's going to suit some of you out there that are like that slightly, I don't know, different feeling ride to some of those mushier super shoes that we're getting at the moment. So I think it's going to suit a certain type of runner, maybe a little bit lighter, someone who's always on the forefoot. You're going to get on very well with this. So this is going to work for some people out there. But I say, I just think at £199, it's hard to justify when you've got the mainstay brands like your Adidas Pro 4s and shoes like that. It's hard to justify in terms of a purchase. But look, I like it, all right? So I'm going to carry on running in these on my sort of Brighton, London marathon training, and even probably into Chicago training. I think this is a good little shoe for me to wear on those training runs. It'll probably take the place of the SC Trainer version 3, which my pair is absolutely ruined. I've got a pair up in London, but the pair I've been wearing for sort of goal-paced long runs on the last block, well, they just had it. So this shoe will probably take that place, which is a huge huge compliment for it, really. As I said, I like it, but I haven't paid £199 for it, and that's me being transparent and as honest as always. So there we go, people. I like it. Kiprun, well done. I really love this colourway. It's a shame it's not in the US. I think this is going to be an interesting one. Some people will pick this up and get some good use out of it. It is a fast-feeding shoe, but I think it's limited in terms of its audience, which is a real shame. So hopefully the next incarnation, this is a little bit cheaper and a little bit more open to other people to be able to buy it. Right, team, there we go. That's my thoughts on the Kiprun KD900X LD+. I'm having to read it out. It's a bit of a silly name. Kiprun, is a little tip for you. Call it something like the Kiprun It's Awesome and Fast, or Kiprun This Will Blow Your Mind, or something like that. Not the KD900X LD+, because it's a silly name, so change that as well. But there we go, people. Let me know in the comments, are you going to be picking up the Kiprun? Are you in the US and you won't be picking up the, whatever it's called, Kiprun? Let me know in the comments and I'll dive in there once this video drops. Don't forget to subscribe, people, and I'll catch you all later.